Observing obscure observances. June 11th. Here we go. Corn on the cob day. There are 6 different kinds of maize or corn, and one of them is sweet corn, the kind that is most often celebrated on Corn on the Cob Day. Corn was first domesticated by indigenous peoples in southern Mexico thousands of years ago, and more corn is now produced around the world than wheat or rice, although not all of it is used for human consumption. Sweet corn is picked when the kernels are still soft, and it is cooked in many different ways. Most commonly, it is boiled or steamed on a stove, roasted or grilled on a grill, or in an oven, or microwaved. Many times, skewers are put on both ends of the cob after the husk is removed so it can be more easily held, and butter, salt, and pepper are common seasonings used on the corn. It can be a pretty healthy snack if it is not overloaded with butter and salt, as an ear of corn usually isn't much more than 100 calories and is high in fiber. All right, fun little thing for you. Now here's a little joke for you. This couple gets married, and as soon as they get married, the wife gets a safety deposit box, and she has a key. And she has it around her neck on this necklace for 50 years. And one night, they have a big party, 50 years of marriage. And that night, he says to her, "What's in that safety box?" She goes, "Well, let's have a look." And she opens it up, and there's $25,000 and 2 ears of corn. And he says, "What's this all about?" And she says, "Well, in the 50 years that we've been married, every time that I was unfaithful to you, I put an ear of corn in there." He's like, "Okay, but what's with the $25,000? She says, "Every time I got a bushel, I sold one." Infidelity, everybody. Oh, well, you can joke about anything as long as there's one good exaggeration. Corpus Christi, which is Latin for body of Christ. Did not know that. And there's a lot of information. And it's observed 60 days after Easter, and it's well, I'll just go and just read it, because I read this earlier and all of a sudden the ran out of space. So, but I'm just recutting it. All right, here we go. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. Okay. Corpus Christi, observed by Christians, especially Roman Catholics, commemorates the Holy Eucharist, a rite also common known as Holy Communion or the Last Supper. The holiday commemorates Christ's Last Supper, which was held on Maundy Thursday, celebrates the rite that came from it, and also celebrates transubstantiation. That's a tough word. Transubstantiation, the belief that the Eucharist is literally the body and blood of Christ, having been turned into it from bread and wine. Since the Reformation, most Protestant churches have not celebrated the day because they have different views on the Eucharist regarding transubstantiation. But Corpus Christi is a public holiday in many countries that are predominantly Catholic, whereas Maundy Thursday is a solemn day marking the Last Supper, the washing of the disciples' feet, the institution of the priesthood, and the events at the Garden of Gethsemane. Corpus Christi focuses solely on the Last Supper. In fact, Corpus Christi is the Latin phrase for body of Christ. The holiday has been observed since 1246, when the first celebration was held in St. Martin's Church in Liège, Belgium. The start of the day can largely be attributed to Juliana of Liège, who longed for a day dedicated to the Eucharist that wasn't during Lent and spent about 40 years working to start the day. The day is celebrated on the Thursday after Trinity Sunday. Around the world and in some parts in the United States, it is celebrated on the Sunday after Trinity Sunday in some parts of the United States. With the Catholic liturgical reforms of 1969 under Pope Paul V, nations were allowed to move the day to the Sunday following Trinity Sunday instead of being required to observe it on the Thursday after that Sunday. That's a lot to take in. All right, here we go. Cousteau Day, in reference to Jacques Cousteau, the underwater explorer who I think he was paralyzed. I think he was. That's what I heard from Paul Harvey. Paul Harvey, good day. Anyway, Jacques Cousteau, an underwater explorer known for his contributions to marine science and conservation, is celebrated today on the anniversary of his birth. The Office of National Marine Sanctuaries started an official Cousteau Day, which was held on June 25, 2010, on the 13th anniversary of his death. At sanctuaries across the country, it was celebrated with events such as the cleaning of harbors and beaches, the reading of his books, and watching of his films, events at aquariums, and events focusing on underwater exploration and the impacts of humans on marine environment. The day was also marked by the wearing of red hats, Cousteau's signature attire. There is no indication that the day officially took place on this date in subsequent years. Prior to, during, and after the honors of Cousteau Day, the day has been unofficially celebrated on June 11th, the day in which he was born in 1910. Cousteau was not a trained scientist, but became involved in underwater exploration because of his underwater love. Cousteau was not a trained scientist, but became involved in underwater exploration because of his love for underwater diving in the ocean. He was a French naval officer during World War II and began experimenting with underwater filmmaking at that time and continued undersea investigations and research afterwards. Throughout his work, he educated the public and sparked their interest in sea life and its preservation. He was an ecologist who participated in environmental activism, a photographer, a filmmaker who produced over 120 documentaries, and an author who wrote over 50 books. Most notably, he published Le Monde du Silence, The Silent World, in 1953. It was made into a film in 1956 and won the Palme des and the Academy Award for Best Documentary feature the following year. He also created a documentary television program, The Undersea World of Jacques Cousteau. So there we go. And there was a great mock headline from George Carlin where he was doing the news, and he goes and the last headline before he goes into the news is, and Jacques Cousteau drowns in bathtub accident. That's funny. All right. What else do we got? King Kamehameha, also known as Kamehameha Day, observed annually on June 11th. Okay, King Kamehameha. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Could be a Hawaiian thing. King Kamehameha. I don't know. All right. King Kamehameha Day is a public holiday in Hawaii. Oh, yeah. King Kamehameha is a public holiday in Hawaii that honors Kamehameha the First, the Hawaiian king who was the first to. King Kamehameha is a public holiday in Hawaii that honors Kamehameha the First, the Hawaiian king who was also known as Kamehameha the Great, and Napoleon the Napoleon of the Pacific. Kamehameha is known for establishing the unified Kingdom of Hawaii in 1810, which brought together the islands of Niihauia, Kauai, Oahu. I'm terribly sorry if I'm screwing up some of these names, folks. These are tough. Niihauia, Aloku, Lanai, Kehuai, Maui, and Hawaii. He was monarch of Hawaii from 1782 until his death on May 8, 1819. The holiday was proclaimed by Kamehameha's grandson, Kamehameha V, on December 22, 1871. It was first observed the following year. After Hawaii became a state in 1959, the holiday was proclaimed by its governor and legislature as well. Celebrations at the time of the day's creation consisted of fairs, carnivals, and races on foot, horse, and velocipede. Presently, the day nods to the ancient Hawaiian tradition that Kamehameha fought to preserve as his land was being influenced by European culture. Each year, the Kamehameha Hula competition takes place, where hula groups come to the United States, plus Del Center and Honolulu from all over the world. Floral parades take place in different locations throughout Hawaii. One of the biggest is on Oahu, where it begins at Iowana Palace and ends at Kalani Park. that has a party with food, culture, and musical exhibitions taking place. 3 floral parades are held on the island of Hawaii alone. Festivals are held on many of the islands, and many schools and businesses are closed. Ah, there you go. I've been to Hawaii before. Pretty nice. Nice place. And they don't lay anymore when you get off the plane. They don't give you that lay anymore. I don't know why, but they just don't. I'll never forget going to Hawaii and coming back. It was quite an adventure. We go to the airport, and it's like 6:45 in the morning. We get there, and my dad sees a bunch of news vans there. He's like, uh-oh, what's going on? Turns out that all American airline flights were grounded that day, and we had to take American Airlines to go to... We were supposed to go Tampa to California, then California to Hawaii. The flight gets canceled, so we got to go to Orlando. We go to Orlando, and we book another flight. Orlando to California, California to Hawaii. And the flight gets canceled, but we didn't hear about it until later on. So we're stuck at the airport for the rest of the day. Finally, at the end of the day, like 6 o'clock at night, we get a flight Orlando to Dallas. Dallas, the plane lands. They book us all at a Days Inn motel. And we go from Dallas to Hawaii. We have a great time there. And then we come back from Hawaii to Dallas. We board the plane. Everyone's all strapped in. Pilot comes on. He gives us this. Flight attendants, please prepare for landing. Takeoff. And I think to myself, what the heck's up with this guy? So we start traveling. And about, 30, 40 minutes into the flight, they come on. Normally this is around the time when they'd say what they have available on the menu. They come on, they give us this. Ladies and gentlemen, just to let you know, we are out of food. It's like, oh, great. So 8 hours? So 8 hours on this big white bird, and y'all don't have any food? Well, at least we had... a little mini snack of Pringles. So there was that. All right, what else do we got? National German Chocolate Cake Day, observed annually on June 11th. Okay, let's see. National German Chocolate Cake Day. I like German chocolate cake. It's pretty darn good. I've had some, and I've made some back in the day. All right, here we go. National German Chocolate Cake Day is dedicated to German chocolate cake. The first thing you should know about this cake is that it is not from Germany, nor does it have anything to do with Germany. It is named after Samuel German, who came up with the dark baking chocolate for Baker's Chocolate Company in 1852, which was named Baker's German Sweet Chocolate. Over 100 years later, on June 3rd, 1957, Mrs. George Clay's recipe for German's chocolate cake appeared in the Dallas Morning News as the recipe of the day. This recipe used Baker's German Sweet Chocolate and General Foods, which owned Baker's, disseminated the recipe to newspapers around the country. Soon after, the cake gained popularity all over the country, and the S was also dropped from Germans, simply making it German chocolate cake. The cake is a layered chocolate cake with a caramel topping with pecans and coconuts, sometimes chocolate frosting. It's put around the sides and the circumference, and maraschino cherries may be put on top. I've had it with just regular chocolate, nothing else. National Making Life Beautiful Day, observed annually on June 11th. Okay. National Making Life Beautiful Day explores the many ways that life can be made beautiful, recognizes the beauty in everyday life, and is for encouraging and celebrating men and women who work to make life beautiful. It was started by Apiora Beauty, a beauty products company, and takes place on the anniversary of their founding. Life can be made beautiful by building relationships and helping others reach their goals. Small acts of beauty can go a long way and help oneself as well by making someone else feel good. The person doing the beautiful act will also be fulfillment. Also feel fulfillment. Sometimes I read stuff a little too fast. All right, what else do we got on here? Well, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Lawrence Ross, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.